Hey everybody, Deathblade here. This is a very different video than the kind I usually make, but I feel like it's kind of important to get out the tragic story of why I quit BetaReader.io. In case you're not familiar with me, I am a translator and a writer who specializes in Chinese fantasy genres. I am in the middle of writing the second volume of an ongoing series. Now, incidentally, this series I originally self-published in the form of 3 books, but it was picked up by a publisher. The first 3 books are combined into a first volume, which we're calling Arc 1. I'm currently working on Arc 2, and leading up to the beginning of the work, I wanted to try something new in terms of how I got feedback from my alpha readers, beta readers, and gamma readers. Previously, I used Google Docs and Google Forms. That basically worked pretty well for me, but I kind of wanted something a little bit more streamlined, because I found once I get past feedback from a few people in a few different stages of the reading, using Google Docs and Google Forms does get a little bit clunky. So I kind of wanted something that I could kind of have everybody in one place, but at the same time also split it up into different phases of alpha, beta, and gamma reading. After doing some research, I kind of focused in on BetaReader.co and BetaBooks.co and BetaReader.io. BetaBooks.co actually was a lot more intuitive, and there were some good things about it. It had some downsides, and it was also more expensive, so I ended up going with BetaReader.io. This is the dashboard here, and this is the volume 2 that I basically worked on for a week. If you can see it on the screen, I'm not sure how hard it is to see. I uploaded 8 chapters and got almost 20,000 words into it before quitting. Over here are some ratings, which that's actually based mostly on a joke chapter I uploaded, so don't pay any attention to that. As you can see here, there were 196 comments within those 6 to 8 chapters, and unfortunately it was after only 1 week that I quit. I actually contacted their customer support to explain what happened, and I think the easiest way to explain to you is to just read that customer support interaction. First, I want to explain very quickly how my process works, because I don't think everybody does it the way I do. Because of my background as a translator of serialized Chinese web fiction, I'm used to uploading chapters one at a time. And so that's how I do it with my alpha readers for my own work. Now, I don't publish my work as web literature. I do it like normal literature. So I release a book, not chapter by chapter. But I do like the chapter by chapter interaction with readers. I think that you can get a lot of interesting insight, feedback, advice, going chapter by chapter. And I really do like that experience. So what I do is I upload my chapters to alpha readers, or I provide the chapters to the alpha readers on a daily basis in the early part of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the alpha readers get 2 chapters a day for a total of 8 chapters, depending, sometimes I have to take a day off or I have a doctor's appointment, whatever. The point is I upload those chapters daily, and they, for the most part, provide daily feedback. I actually don't read the feedback on a daily basis. What I do is at the end of the week, I spend time going through all of their comments. And then what I do is I actually make changes as I read their comments. If they have a good suggestion or they point out a mistake, I fix it. I go through every chapter, every comment, make all of those changes. Then after making all of the changes, I read through the chapters to see the changes in context, and I do another round of revision and rewriting and editing and whatnot. That's how my alpha process works. I also have a process for beta readers and gamma readers and proofreading and all that different stuff. But this is basically the very first round of rewriting that I do. And that's what I did with actually the first 6 chapters. And again, I'll point out 196 comments is, that's a pretty good amount of comments. Let me read to you what happened that led up to me quitting. I'm going to go to the chat here, which shows the customer support interaction. Now, this happened on September 10, so it's been a couple weeks at this point. I kind of wanted to make this video immediately afterward, but I was just so busy. So I will read it for you. Basically, I said, I made numerous editing changes to 6 chapters of my book. None of those changes were saved. When editing content, there appears to be an autosave functioning in the top right corner of the screen. Does that not work? I lost a lot of changes because of this. What I can do is I can go to my manuscripts, and I will go to this other content that's not from volume 2, and I will show you what I mean. If you click on chapter 1 here, which is actually a new prologue for the, oops, there's some spoilers there. A new prologue then for the original volume 1, which is going to be released soon. This is the new prologue for it. Anyway, if you look up here in the top right, you can see it says saved there. Type in some random stuff. It turns blue. You can manually save it, or if you just wait a second, it auto saves it. And then look, this is what it looks like. You'll have your changes, and then it says saved. Going back to the chat here, the response was only a day later, so that was good. The customer service was fast. Hello, edits should indeed be auto-saved, so something must have gone wrong. Which browser OS do you use? And did the save button say saved before you left? My response, I'm on a PC using Chrome. Yes, the save button constantly was saving, but only about 1/10 of the edits actually went through. I didn't even notice until I had gone through all 6 chapters to edit them and realized I had lost just about everything, from entire paragraphs that I inserted to small typos like punctuation or misspellings fixed. At this point, it doesn't matter because I reviewed all of the feedback from the readers and redid the changes outside of BetaReader. Frankly, this is a huge problem with the app. This is not to mention my readers complaining about how they write comments that suddenly disappear if the browser auto refreshes, or comments that vanish for seemingly no reason. I've also had problems with only partial comments coming through. In other words, the comment starts halfway through a sentence and I have to go to the reader personally to check what they originally intended to send. Got it. Thanks for reporting this. We will investigate and fix it ASAP. One more thing. Did you resolve comments as you edited, or did you leave them open? Resolved most of them. This comments thing is another issue because if you resolve a comment as closed, then the reader will get a notification if you responded to that comment, which I often do because they'll ask questions in their comments. I'll respond to them, but I don't want a million comments in the draft because I want to kind of be able to visually look at it and see where I am in terms of responding to all of the feedback. So I will mark that comment as closed, but then they get a notification yet cannot see that comment. Now, to be fair, they will get an email summary of my comment if they activate email notification, which is not a default. So basically, most of my readers got a notification that I responded to them, went to the notifications in the app, like up here, and then clicked on it, and it went nowhere because the comment was closed. So that's kind of annoying. That said, it does save those comments in my view. So basically, after I went through and made all those changes, which, if, as you can imagine, reading 196 comments over 6 chapters, making a bunch of revisions, that was a good chunk of probably 2 or 3 hours. And then all of a sudden, I found out that my work had been lost due to no fault of my own. According to them, it was supposed to be auto-saving. So I went through, I found all the old comments, I reread all the old comments, I went onto my Google Docs version and made the changes there, and then everything was resolved in the end, except for the fact that I wasted a whole bunch of time. Now, as you can also see, I'm scrolling up and down, this is all of the chat from customer support. They never said if they actually resolved the problem. I mean, I'm assuming they did, but I don't really know. So what did they expect me to do? Just keep using the app, keep uploading chapters, and then potentially lose a whole bunch of data, or sit around being very careful? I mean, I did some tests. I went in, I made changes, I hit save, I closed it, I went back and the changes were gone. I confirmed it with my own eyes that it was happening. So this is just a really huge problem. Now, I know what some people are going to say, well, you just don't use the app as an editor, and that's a valid point. But the whole purpose of me switching over to this app and paying them money, by the way, was because I wanted to have everything in one place. Now, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, you know, this is pretty dangerous to have all of my changed, edited stuff on their app, and like I just assumed that it's not going to get lost. I was thinking that. So what I was thinking was, I was going to make all the changes, then download it, because they do have a download option where you can download the entire book. My plan was just to do that every week. Like, I would go through, make all my changes, and then download it and have that as a backup. I never even got to the point of downloading it because the changes never went through. So thankfully, I only did it with 6 chapters, and I didn't lose that much time or work. But I can only imagine this. What if you were an author that had an entire completed novel? Because this app is sort of designed for that, and it's also designed to be able to help you to find beta readers if you don't have them already. Imagine you uploaded your entire book, and you went through and had a bunch of people read it and they left comments, and then you went through and you edited everything based on the comments, and it was like 100 chapters or something, and you didn't really think that this would happen because it's auto-saving. Then you mark all of those comments as closed, and then you go back and finally my manuscript is ready for the next stage, and then you go back and none of those changes actually went through. That would be an absolute tragedy. So I don't want to bash the app too bad. If you're considering using it, it has some very useful tools, and I liked a lot of it, but this was just a killer. This just killed it for me. If you're considering using it, maybe you could reach out to them, go to their forums if they have them. I'm not really sure. See if this issue has been resolved, or at least test it out for yourself before committing to paying and actually using it for a real life manuscript. So I hope this was useful, especially if you are considering using this app. I ended up just going back to Google Docs and using Google Docs and Google Forms. It's a little bit unwieldy in some situations, but at least I know that I'm not going to lose my data. I'm not going to lose the changes I made. Okay, to be honest, it is possible to lose data on Google Docs. I actually did it. What happened was I was on a laptop and the internet connection wasn't that good and the laptop crashed. It's actually a big issue because I now have no computer at my home. I have my computer at my office space and I don't have my laptop at home because it literally crashed and will not start. I need to take it to a laptop repair place or something. Anyway, the point is, even with Google Docs, it is possible to lose data, but at least for the most part, you know it's on the cloud and you're going to have all of your old versions of the manuscript saved automatically, and you're not going to have to deal with a loss like I had to deal with. That's it for this video. If you have any questions or feedback, leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Godzilla.